So the hype might be real. Khamzat Chimaev manages to submission win in the UFC 267 event. It was quite impressive what he managed to do to the leech. He managed to actually, literally 30 seconds into the bout, he picked him up and literally lifted him and took him to literally near the seat where Dana White was sitting, so Dana White can see. I think Dana White was on his phone or something like that, and literally started whacking him, ground and pounding him, and he started going off, and then eventually managed to get a submission in, and he managed to stop him in the first round. It was very impressive showing. Jingaling was actually in a position where he looked like he was completely overwhelmed. He didn't know what he was gonna actually do when he was in that position. He looked like he completely looked completely helpless when he fought Khamzat Chimaev. Sorry, I've got his name wrong. Liliang. So yeah, he completely dominated him in the first round, and it looked so conclusive. It was actually scary. When you see Khamzat Chimaev, when he walks into the actual octagon, there's different types of fighters that have different types of confidence. You got Khabib Nurmagomedov, who has more of a quiet confidence, so he's very confident, but he doesn't overtly show it. While you got someone like Khamzat Chimaev, who and to some extent also Conor McGregor, who shows it more. They show it outside in terms of their swagger and their presence when they walk into the octagon. With Khamzat Chimaev, he has this certain aura when he walks in. You can immediately tell that he's very confident when he walks into the octagon, the way he carries himself, and he looked like he just exuded this presence, like he knew what he was going to do when he went in there, and he completely dominated Liliang. It was very conclusive the way he actually ripped him to pieces. I mean, he put him into a position where he got him into a submission hold, and he completely got him into a position where he looked like he was almost going to pass out. So from that perspective, I wouldn't say that I'm completely on the hype train, but I can understand people that actually do feel like they are on the hype train. And immediately after the fight, in the post-fight press conferences, he started calling out Nate Diaz, which is an interesting fight. Dana White mentioned that he was thinking of giving Nate Diaz an interesting fight, and I was wondering if this was what he's referring to, a fight with Khamzat Chimaev. So yeah, I feel like Khamzat Chimaev, he just exudes this confidence that I've not seen in a long time in a lot of fighters. Like he just seems like he's very confident, like he knows exactly what he's going to do in there when he comes to fight. And I feel like it's actually kind of scary seeing a fighter that confident, and he's only had like 10 fights at this point, 10 victories. So yeah, from that perspective, I just think he is a special fighter. I don't know if he's ready for the top 5 fighters though in the division. I mean, a good test for him might actually be like, for example, someone like Michael Chiesa. Someone like that could be a good test for him. It could be a good way for him to get a good victory. But yeah, it depends on how far the UFC machine is going to push him. I think he beats Nate Diaz at this point in time in his career. I just think he's just all wrong for Nate Diaz at this point, and I think the UFC have to be careful in terms of. I think that's a very good matchup for him, but at the same time, I'm not yet 100% convinced. Like I still feel like there's something else that needs to be said. Like I think there's still something. I think he still needs one more test within the top 10, not like top 5, but top 10, and then we could put him in there against the likes of a fighter like that. But obviously we just got to see what actually happens, if he's actually ready for a test of that magnitude. It might be a little bit of time until he gets that fight, but when he does get it, it'll be quite interesting to see what actually happens. So yeah, from my perspective, I think Khamzat, I wouldn't say he's a hype job. I think he's definitely a fighter to look out for. I mean, his confidence, the way he carries himself, his proficiency in terms of wrestling, his ability to actually fight, the way he fights. I mean, he's 100% legit, but I still feel like they need one more fight within the top 10. So obviously his last opponent, Liliang, was a top 11 opponent. I think a top 10 opponent, not quite top 5 but top 10, so maybe like someone ranked in a 10th or 11th, not 11th, sorry, 10th or 9th. I think that he should get one more fight, and then after that he should fight someone in the top 5. If he can do that, then I think he's going to create problems. If I don't know if he's in a position where he can fight with the likes of the top fighters like the Colby Covingtons of the world, or for example like the Kamaru Usmans. There's still some time, but give him 1 or 2 years and I think he's going to be right up there. I mean, his progression within the sport has been insane. I mean, it's been even quicker than you could argue than Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor became a Cage Warrior champion in two I think he became a Cage Warrior champion in 2 weight classes before he even got signed to the UFC, and then the UFC machine started pushing him. I don't think they pushed him as quickly as they're pushing Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev, within 3 fights, a lot of people are thinking of him like fighting for the being within the top 10. So I think this is a meteoric rise. This is a meteoric rise that we've never seen before. The only rise that I can think of that's quite comparable to this is probably Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar within 3 fights was fighting for the title. So yeah, it's not quite as meteoric as Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar already had a name outside of MMA. He was already a wrestler. In terms of a fighter that's purely come from just the MMA background to the position that he's in now, I think Khamzat Chimaev might be the most meteoric rise that I've seen in my lifetime. That's actually saying a lot. So yeah, from that perspective, I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see where his career goes next. The fight against Nate Diaz, I think that'll be a good fight for him. Obviously he was originally going to fight a Leon Edwards, but obviously Leon Edwards is going to fight Masvidal. So yeah, from that perspective, I just think it's interesting. It's interesting to see where his career goes. He's definitely one to look out for. I think the broadcasters mentioned that within 4 fights, only 1 significant strike has been landed against him. I mean, this is quite impressive stuff, you know. It's very impressive. Khamzat Chimaev is for real. I mean, I was a fan of him as soon as I saw him, but then when he started talking bad about Khabib and calling out all these fighters and saying he's going to destroy him, I kind of got a little bit turned off by him. Like, I thought like maybe he could get a bit more humble. But then after this performance, I can't help but be enthusiastic about his career. I'm interested to see where he goes from here. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion. What do you think about his performance? How do you think he did against before I mispronounce his name again, Liliang? How do you think he done against him? I think this is a very, very good showing, very good acid test, and he completely dominated him, just like he did his previous opponents. So I think this is legit. This is 100% legit. Khamzat Chimaev is 100% legit. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.